In OWL, we provide an assessment tool for language and literacy development, and it's included in your curriculum materials. What you'll see in the segments, one segment is a discussion I had with a teacher at the end of her Songs, Wordplay, and Letters segment. The children had done quite a lot of rhyming activities in that segment. So I discussed with the teacher a few individual children and how they had generated rhyming words, and pointed out, we were looking at the rubrics that are part of the assessment tool and discussing where various children were making progress in their phonological awareness development. You will also see some pages from journals from another classroom, and I'm discussing with that teacher the children's development in their writing. We got so involved in looking at the children's journals, which were just wonderful, that I don't think we opened the assessment tool itself to discuss in the beginning writing rubric where would have placed them. But you can tell from our comments we were talking about the progress that children had made, and sometimes very quick progress within a matter of 5 or 6 days in their writing. So we will show you that. And then a third segment is another discussion with the teacher at the end of her Songs, Wordplay, and Letters segment. And we again talk about rhyming, which she did with the children. And she also used the word clue game. And so we will discuss vocabulary development in relation to the rubrics and how her children are doing in that area. The idea of the rubrics is that teachers can use them very closely with their instruction. It's a tool for monitoring progress day to day, right in the context of your teaching of the children. Of course, the big task for everyone is how to find time to write down what we see, and teachers are finding ways to do that. But the tool is designed to help you monitor children's progress, individual children's progress, day to day, right in the midst of instruction that you provide for them.
Golden Bear, that went well. They are. I used to do the first reading and then go back and stop with the chiming in. But now, and we've only done this book a few times, that they're already chiming in right on the first.
And they were doing almost the whole text.
Yes.
Now, I was behind the group, so I'm not sure how many children, but it sounds
There were
to
quite
me
a
like
few.
multiple voices.
Yes, there were quite a few who were reading it, the whole
almost
text.
everything.
Yes.
Almost everything. I
With me.
noticed that. Yeah. So that's great. Now, has this been at the library, in the library yet for them to read?
No, it has
so,
not.
So another
has
week or
not.
so probably we'll be
It will
ready
be-
for
yes.
that. Okay. And then when you went back through and asked them for other rhyming words to go with the pair,
Yes.
I couldn't keep up.
I couldn't either,
Okay.
which we've never had a day like we've had today. They were all generating,
Yeah.
and some of them I don't know where they got some of the rhymes. I know they were bringing them in from other songs that we have done.
But pear and hair.
Pear and
was
hair.
one that surprised me.
Yep.
I mean, there were several that surprised me. But now you've been building up to this, though.
Yes.
You've been doing this kind of thing, but you had to give more of the ideas. And then just occasionally a child would come up with one.
Right.
And today it was really kind of a flood, which
Right.
is wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, again, I don't know the children that well, so I'm not sure who, but I see you already have some notes here. So, Linda, Nora, Dora. Oh, that was the author.
From the author, and
Yes.
she does that every day.
Right. And then there were some other names that came
Yes,
up from other children.
Richard put in Laura.
Someone said Mora or
Mora.
something.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that was Richard too.
Okay. And then, let's see some of the other rhymes. Yes, Alana said loan and phone. Seeds and weeds. They were just. Now, I was looking in the rubrics in terms of kind of the levels. I mean, they are generating rhymes. These children are generating rhymes to a target. So they are really over in this consolidating
Consolidating
column,
yes.
producing rhyme when they hear two words that rhyme. You gave them two from the book. And then they came up with some others. And I think you might have a child or two that says when asked, like this would be if you asked, give me some words that rhyme without you giving any target. I bet Linda and some of the
Yes,
others
and
could.
yes.
Now, this is very interesting. Your children are back for the second year.
Yes, they are.
And the generating just themselves without even you giving them a pair is over here in the proficient column of rhyme. Now, as you know, rhyme isn't the highest level of phonological awareness. Okay.
Right.
But generating rhyme, we would kind of think of as mid-year, early, January, February, and it's only October. So probably when we have time,
Yes, we
you
need to.
and Sue and I can sit down and look at probably units 4 and 5
Okay.
and the literacy skills, and just take a look at what's there. And so you'll have some ideas of what you can move ahead to.
Okay, and adapt it to
Just start using
them
some
in
of those
techniques in
yes,
the second.
some of those
okay.
activities, how to do it. Because it seems to me that before too much longer, for most of your children, you don't need to spend a whole lot more time on rhyme. You'll still need to do a little bit of it, and that's how the literacy skills are organized in the curriculum. Is there's always a range, and the balance changes. You'll always have an occasional child who, maybe even in February, occasionally you'll need to do a little rhyming, but then the others don't need it.
Right.
And then you have to start including what they need, and so that range gets higher.
Right.
But you are definitely with your group going to have to adjust that
Definitely.
range.
I feel that, especially after today.
After today.
Yeah, they really opened my eyes today.
And you can see once children get onto some of these things, how fast. It seems slow at first. I mean, when you first start doing the generation rhyming, you're not getting anything.
Yes.
And then a little bit, and then it's a flurry. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So, but they were really, and it's October the 21st. You've been in session, and you started school. You do home visits and things.
Right.
You
so
didn't start till September.
This is week 5.
This is week 5.
This is week
This
5
is week
for us.
5. Okay, we'll have to catch up with the children. Blues for all those words. I thought, well, okay, that's a lot of words, and I've never seen in another classroom where someone's been able to do so many words, but they were very focused.
I was kind of surprised. We've done it before, and we've done like maybe 4 or 5, but this was like 9 this time.
Yes.
And I think maybe I could have gone some more,
I think
but I
you
didn't really want to push it.
You never want to push
so
it, yes, right.
I leave them screaming
That's
for
right.
more,
Right, right. Well,
so
they
I
were,
just did the 9.
Yeah, well,
But they were focused, and they got the clues, and they related them to the books that we've read. So that was really great. Really
Sue,
good.
the literacy coach who was in there observing, she took good notes for you.
Oh, did she?
So for the assessment and on the rubrics, because, and I couldn't hear because I was in the observation booth, so I
Okay.
wasn't sure. I knew children were responding, and I knew when you turned the picture that someone had guessed, but we can talk about a couple. I was interested in the connections they made. So Jeanette says, we did marble painting. So it was probably after the word was guessed, and then she made that comment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then Malik, when it was palace, he knew palace and knew that king and queen lived in a palace, so I'm assuming he commented more, which is great. And then that's another comment, but you probably know more because you heard them. But here,
Adriana.
knew Bush, and then knew that Noisy Nora's father actually looked there for her. So these are really nice connections.
And she also mentioned the fact that her neighbor has bushes around the house.
Oh.
Not as big as in the picture,
Uh-huh.
but she does have shrubs around the house.
Great,
Right.
great. So for those children, we won't open the rubric assessment book, but in that part on vocabulary, there are some items that have to do with our children coming up with the story words in this context or spontaneously using them. So you'd have some, I'll give this, Sue gave it to me to give to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I can put that in there.
yeah, so those are good observations of that. So, okay, that
I
was,
did notice when we were doing the picture clue that they were making more comments than they had before when we did other
Oh.
pictures.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's because they're more used to doing it, but they were just adding on comments that were, were relating to the picture
be.
and things.
Now, a question
So-
I would have is, I bet without even knowing it, that when you've done this before, that after they guess the word, I bet you've made a comment to extend. Don't you think you would?
I might have.
I
might
bet you have.
I might have.
And now they are doing that.
I might have.
I
yeah.
bet.
Because we talk an escalator.
Uh-huh.
And I did say one time, okay, they're at the malls. You see me at the malls. And one child said, yes, I went to the mall yesterday and they're there.
They're there. It's confirming that.
after, yeah.
Well, I bet they're picking up the connections because you've made connections.
We try, yeah,
So-
that's what we're trying to do so they can get
Sure.
really
Sure.
know
And
these
that's
words and
just
things
great.
and use the words.
Yeah, now they're doing that too, so that's wonderful.
This is Kaya.
Kaya. Okay.
And Kaya, you can see she's working on her case. She's got some that are more letter-like forms, almost.
And this would be, no one told her she had to write her name or
No.
anything, so this is just what she decided to do. And there are a lot of Ks, but here that's so fascinating too. I'd love to know how she actually made this part here, because there's a K basically over here, and then there's another part here, almost looks like an H. And if we only could be there always to see how they actually did that, but the variation here, and then here's another form that's very much like this one. And then she comes down here. Is it a girl or a boy?
It's the girl.
Okay. And now she just has an H. So look at that variation from here to here to here. And then she has just K's by themselves, and looks like an L or so. And look at this. Sometimes she just does the diagonal lines for the K, and then here she's got this very horizontal one. Look at that. See, because really, and this could be some of the same kind of experimentation. See, I always think that a lot of this is real deliberate experimentation and variation. And I love to watch them.
Sometimes we see that we'll get more writing and more interested writing on the part of the child when it's not in the morning time. We have it as they come in to help them ease into the day. But when we really get good writing samples, it's not usually in that morning time,
Really?
because a lot of times they'll want to move on and get to
Sure,
the next
sure.
to get to the next
Sure.
thing. So not every morning do they really want to.
So when would they go back during the day? It's like during centers?
During center time.
Sometimes they'll go
During
do
center
this.
time.
Yeah, okay. Now, this is Jordan.
This is Jordan.
Okay. Now here, did he write this? Looks like he
Yes.
did. So J, A, and then a J at the end, and J's and J's. And now here it looks like a drawing of a dog. It's a face.
Mm-hmm.
And RR. There's a little practice in there, like a head with some hair.
Right here, Jasmine has gone to the Writing Center and she has taken the time to fill up her whole page. Some of these are recognizable letters. You can see some S's, you can see some J's. She's also added in some letter-like forms into her writing sample. Jasmine was very shy at the beginning of the year and did not want to elaborate on anything she had done. I imagine that if she had, she might have wanted to say that this was a letter or some other kind of writing work that she might have seen at home or even at school. Alize here also was in the Writing Center, and she wrote her name, and you can see she went back afterwards and kind of highlighted her name in an orange crayon. We added her name after she had done the work, and we do that because when the name is written first on the paper, you almost limit them in some senses. She might have felt like she was expected to copy her name in this form, and it would have almost squelched her creativity. In addition, she may have wanted to orient her paper in a different way. She might have wanted it to go vertically on the paper, but with her name written here, she was kind of confined to writing this way, and those are some of the reasons why we add the name afterwards. Another important step that we see here in writing at the beginning of the year is the children's composition of their work. This varies based on their experiences and their comfort level in speaking. Here is a basic example. Elijah has drawn something, and when asked about his picture, he answered in very few words. Here, he said a door, and he didn't elaborate as to what kind of door or where it was going. And here he says, this a hand. And I did write down exactly what he said so that it could be read back in his words. I did not change it to say this is a hand because those weren't the words that he gave me. Down here, Jalen has added some print to his picture. This was drawn, and as he was drawing it, he said, this is a refrigerator, and he drew an additional square up top and said, this is a freezer. Down here you can see that he's written his name in mostly uppercase letters, although he does have a lowercase I. Some of his letters are reversed, which is very common in pre-kindergarten. Over here he's got the letter A, and the letter A is next to the apple that he's drawn. He said a refrigerator and a freezer with a green apple, and in fact he has colored his apple green. Down here is a picture that Jordan has drawn. Jordan did not make as many letters as Jalen did on his artwork, but she did add some letter-like forms, a little bit more crude in the sense that we can't immediately tell what letters they are, but she's added some more language to hers in her composition. Right here she's drawn some people flying, and she says, all the people fly like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over here you can see she's deliberately drawn some colored circles, and she adds to her flying, somebody is flying and somebody got this necklace, and here's the necklace. And to show her experiences in the classroom, she added down here, this is where the blocks go, and this was drawn as she was getting acquainted with the classroom in late August.